Welcome to Inspiring Insights, the live experience with Stephen DeSade. Coming up on today's show.
This has just been the most extraordinary experience of my entire life. And it's like you've just woken my soul up.
And if you want to create a really good community of care, be the number one carer in your community.
Thanks so much.
That was unbelievable. I felt that. Didn't you feel that, man?
I did feel it. I did feel that.
Oh my goodness, I wish I was in the same room because I'm a touchy-feely person and I just want to hug you, even though there's COVID.
What the heck is happening right now?
That was powerful. I actually have tears in my eyes. That's how good it was. So thank you.
I just don't understand how you have the ability to do that, dude. Like, people are talking and you're breaking out like charts and segments, and it's so enriching.
Okay. That's okay. That's mind blowing. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. My God.
I loved everything. I am deeply blessed and grateful. My life has forever changed.
Yes, I can.
Yes, you can.
I believe because I can
Yes, you
do
can.
all things
Absolutely.
through Christ.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, I've just never met anyone like you.
And boom, 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 everybody. Welcome to this live event, Inspiring Insights with Stephen DeSade, the live experience with Stephen DeSade. My name is Peter Clark of Red TV, and here's my good friend right over there, right across the ocean, right across time, everybody.
Yes.
Stephen DeSade, how are you, my fine friend?
Before I say I'm wonderful and well, and thank you everyone for tuning in, you forgot to say kaboom.
I left it out purposely.
Why?
But I know. I'll tell you later.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
I'll tell
Hello
you later.
from tomorrow, like I say, everyone, from sunny and very warm Sydney. So I'm getting all of these images of people with snow and everything like that. And
yes,
it's getting hot. It's getting toasty down under. There you go.
There you go. Well, it's been snowing here.
Hey,
this morning,
Doug.
so there you go. And
Yeah,
Doug's here at
cool.
the house already. So thanks, Doug, for joining us. Appreciate that. And of course, Kat is
Middle of the
always
night.
in the middle of the night. She keeps showing up. Great artist. Everyone check her out. I hope they check
Yeah,
out
beautiful.
our beautiful work. Appreciate that. Good to see you. Yeah, Stephen. So no, it's been snowing here, by the way. So you enjoy your warm weather, okay?
Yes. Very toasty.
You
Very
enjoy
too
your warm
toasty.
weather. Well,
Too toasty.
we're pretty excited today. We have another great show. Always have a great show, as far as I'm concerned. A little bias there, but you have an awesome subject matter we're going to be talking about with the masterclass of eternal growth mindset. Love that. And of course, there's always a tactic that we're going to have involved, which will bring it down to the whiteboard, all that kind of stuff. So lots of cool stuff on the way. In the meantime, let's bring in just so that everybody knows, we have a wonderful guest in the green room waiting for
It's
us.
a
right
special
now.
special show, special guest for some
Special
good-
guest.
good
There he
stuff.
is. There he is, my friend. That boom. That could be the kaboom. Right
There
there.
you go.
I'm like the genie. I'm like Will Smith coming out of, the lamp.
Fantastic. Well, Devon, it's awesome to have you. You're in the greater New York area, correct? Yes?
Yeah, I'm in Bayonne, New Jersey, which is like Staten Island, New York, Manhattan. Yeah, I'm close by.
Okay, so technically, are you in the state of New Jersey?
Yes, I'm in the state of New Jersey. Yes.
Well, I have it wrong on the graphic then. I want to put New
Yes, I see
Jersey.
it. Yes.
Yeah, I want New Jersey. Hey, Homer Springsteen, Bon Jovi, come on. Where do you think his hair came from? Come on.
Absolutely. John Bon Jovi.
Well, listen, my friend, we so appreciate you you coming on and being part of the show. We're going to put you back in the green room, okay? And we're going to jump to the masterclass with Stephen, but we'll be back with you in a few minutes, okay?
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you being here. Super to see you. That's awesome. So New Jersey, New York, that's a big difference to me because Bruce Springsteen's not from New York. He's from New Jersey. He's from New Jersey. So
Okay. all the way down here, it's America and it's New York and it's Devon, which is really cool.
Fantastic. Rashmi's here with a boom. I appreciate that. Always
San
good.
Francisco.
Good to see you. There you go, Michelle. Thank you so much.
She
Michelle.
made it. Beautiful, Michelle. Thanks for the voice message.
Well, she sent out a really nice message and made a comment about our, the show and all that kind of stuff. So I super appreciated that. I really
She's
did.
a sweetie. I'm trying to get her to adopt me. Hi, Laurie.
Lori, we appreciate that. It's good to have you
Hello,
here
gorgeous.
as well. So we super appreciate people tuning in. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we might be on another Hey, you might be on another platform later, but we'll talk about that later. Let's
me.
Yeah, exactly. Let's jump to the masterclass because unless you have something to throw out there before.
No. There's bucket loads in the masterclass and tactics, so we don't need any more from me today.
Well, I love this because
you got the updates, didn't you?
Yeah, we're going to do that as well. We're going to do the Sede
done because that's important.
So let's just jump right into eternal growth mindset. Anything you talk about when it comes to mindset, mind shift, anything to do with that, I think that's a fabulous subject matter we need to be talking about. So go ahead, take us away.
Yeah, there's just a lot of talk, and different parts of the world are experiencing different things at different levels. There's been another outbreak in Adelaide, so they're closing all of that down, and obviously across Europe and America. So there's a whole lot of things about what I call eternal growth mindset. So let's do some definitions. Eternal is to exist outside of all relations of time. Growth is to develop from a simpler to a more complex form, and mindset is an intentional, fixed attitude. So eternal growth mindset in Sede land is a timeless form of intentional attitude. Let me say that again, everyone. It's a timeless form of intentional attitude. That's important. Now, there is so many things in this slide pack. I want you to look at this as if it's a buffet meal. You know, those occasions, Thanksgiving, I know is coming for Americans and stuff, and there's a huge amount of food to consume. You select what you want and enjoy it rather than try and eat everything. So my number one advice, sorry to do this for a sec, Pete, but my number one advice as I go through what I'm going to talk about in terms of focus, expect, and action is for you to look for the 1, 2, and maybe 3 things that will have an impact on you. If you wake up every morning and your first thought is, what am I focusing on? What do I expect from that focus and what action am I going to take? Trust me, it'll change your life because it's changed mine. So let's go. Pick out what really represents. Focus is your truth, your power, and your ability to reinvent yourself. What you expect is based on your faith, what you're deciding, and what level of abundance you expect. And wealth or action is your wealth, your future state, and your spirit in that future state. And there's nothing to do with riches because riches and wealth are 2 different things. So if we focus, you can only, here's a big one, everyone, just listen to this. And this is one you should probably write down. Focus. You can only control what you sow. You cannot control what you harvest. So if you're waking up in the morning and you're sowing doubt, anxiety, frustration, then don't be surprised when you harvest that by the end of the day or whatever period. So what you can only control what you sow, you cannot control what you harvest. So on truth, the consummate truth of life, and remember everyone, don't try and remember everything. Get the thing that touches your heart and soul and gives you almost goosebumps. On focus, on truth. The consummate truth of life is that you alter your destiny by altering the focus of your thoughts, remembering that thoughts become things. On power, if you master the power of focusing your mind, you may be and do whatever you will or you want. And on reinvention, this is deep, everyone, but go with me. When you focus on action, which is planting and creativity, that replaces personality, which is ego and fear, you have learnt the art of reinvention of your thoughts, of your attitude, reinventing your interpretation of doubt and anxiety. Let me read that again. When you focus on planting and creativity and you replace ego and fear, you've learnt the art of reinvention of everything in your life, in every relationship as well. Expect. Most people spend their time trying to get comfortable. Always know where you're prepared to compromise. So in some cases, people's attitude towards getting comfortable is pleasure, comfort, and entertainment. It's why Friday nights is such a big night of the week. For other people, they're getting comfortable as the level of vanity they get on social media. Always know where you're prepared to compromise. So what you expect on faith, faith enters the expecting mind that has been set in order through self-discipline. Are you ever surprised by the people who seem to have a self-discipline and how in order they are? Might sound obvious, but your faith is based on that. On deciding, and this one's tricky, passive decisions is to focus on making the right decision. Active decisions is to focus on making a decision right. Most people who are just going through passive income, passive wealth, passive relationships in the context of they've made the right decision and they're making it work, rather than people who are constantly trying to repair the decisions that they've made because the decisions were wrong in the first place. And on abundance, we are surrounded by abundance. Listen to this, everyone. We are surrounded by abundance, for scarcity only lies within us. There is abundance everywhere, and the only scarcity you have is the one that's in you. Abundance is everywhere. Action. Getting angry is not the problem. Staying angry is. And only you can make yourself angry. You might think that other person has caused it, but you're the one who's decided to do it. Remembering that anger is the thief of the right action. So actions on wealth, learning that leads to action will make you wealthy. Learning that leads to knowledge will make you a fool. On faith, the great contributors took action out of faith. Not knowledge. Think of Dr. King Mandela. Knowledge is history, everyone. Faith is the future. And on spirit, the problems and troubles that are coming to you are to your body and mind, not your spirit. And don't confuse that. Let me say it again, Pete. The problems and troubles that are coming to you are to your body and your mind, which is your ego, not to your spirit. It's the reason why Elon Musk can watch all of these rockets for a decade falling back to Earth and blowing up, but his spirit was his sense of adventure as I'm going to create an interplanetary species. And whatever his body felt as it blew up and whatever his mind felt as it blew up, his spirit was, I've got to focus that I am going to be abundant because my legacy in the humanity review of my life will be that I created an interplanetary species. It's in his spirit. It's not just a dream. It's in his spiritual DNA. So attributes of an eternal growth mindset is focus, expect, and action. Truth, faith. Listen to all these words, everyone. How abundant are these words, and how much of these words the companion, like your credit cards, they're in the wallet of your life. Truth, faith, wealth, reinvention, power, abundance, deciding, spirit, and focus. Are those words the companions of your life? So your wealth is the faith you have in your truth. It's in the power of your ability to reinvent yourself. It will decide the abundance of your future spirit. Wait a minute, Pete. Your wealth is the faith that you have in your truth. Most people don't live their truth, so how you can have faith and therefore wealth out of it? It's in the power of your ability to reinvent yourself. Most people's definition of insanity is to live out the, I'm doing it, I'm doing it, I'm doing it. Why is nothing changing? And it will decide the abundance of your future spirit. But if you haven't got your wealth, your faith, your truth, your power, and your reinvention right, don't expect abundance to be in your future spirit. So, questions to finish. I know there's a lot there. Treat it like a buffet, everyone. What is your number one focus in life? Is that focus, in that focus, how much faith do you have in it or them? And here's the kicker, always number 3. That focus and faith, what wealth do you assign to it? And I know sometimes I reference Peter and his beautiful lady, Renuka. What is Peter's number one life's focus in the context of the most beautiful thing in his life? Is that focus, how much faith does Pete have in it? And that focus and faith, what wealth does Peter assign to it? And the reason I use Peter and his beautiful lady, Renuka, as an example, because as I say that to you, everyone, every single one of you is not thinking of Peter and Renuka. You're thinking of yourself and that spouse, that special someone in your life. What wealth have you assigned to that relationship? And are you living to the respect that that wealth deserves? Pete?
Yeah, fantastic, Stephen. I love this, and again, there's so much there to unpack, obviously, and to your point, everybody, please, like, this is truly a buffet of information, and any one of these things can, change your life if applied properly. But let me just throw something back at you very quickly on this, Stephen. Is that this idea of what your number one focus is? Your number one focus, boy, I can imagine many people are thinking in this conversation, they're saying, I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that one thing is. So even if you don't know, I'm going to guess that this process you just described is really being able to apply it to all the important things in your life, right? Not just the number one thing, but everything that's important. Correct?
But one of the great things is when you find, and I went out for a walk this morning because I need to get better in my health and everything like that. When I went out for a walk this morning, I realized that as I was walking, I felt better and I did some stretching and stuff. And I thought, I'm not 25 anymore. So I noticed, but then it immediately made me think in terms of, well, okay, what do I need to do about my eating? What about my sleeping? And how should I improve my eating? So if you want to know what your number one focus in life is, ask yourself about your job, about your hobbies, about your children, about your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, significant other, about your mum and dad, about anything, about your charities, about Sapphire with Devan and all those types of things. Ask yourself, list out all of those things, the things that are just special to you. And like my job's not really special, but it actually funds my life. Okay, list all of those things out and then ask yourself this question. If you got a phone call to say one of those things had been interrupted or terminated, which one would make you go, oh my God, that is your number one focus? Not in the context of my relationship with my partner, not in the context of my actual charitable work. What is the focus of, you know what, if I'm going to go walking, maybe I should eat better, maybe I should sleep better. I need to get to bed earlier so I can get up earlier. And then all of a sudden, your assignment of the importance of that focus will start emanating and rippling out across everything else. Because if you want to know what the number one focus in your life is, ask yourself, if it got terminated and it disappeared like that, what would happen to the rest of my life? Oh my God.
Right. Yeah, so true. And again, I really pulled a lot from that. And the reason why I mentioned that is because, sometimes I have to be transparent with everybody here, is that sometimes I don't even know what my number one focus is sometimes. I really mean that. So I think most people out there that are running businesses, entrepreneurs, and even in your personal life, I think in your personal life, you can kind of get that right. If you can, everything else is noise. But from a business perspective, sometimes I don't know exactly that one thing. So,
yeah, but if you think about what is your business life does what? It funds your life. It gives you an outlet. It gives you all of those passion things and all that kind of stuff. But even Elon Musk with his interplanetary species, he still had a child. Interesting name, but he still had a child. He's married, all those types of things. Michael Schumacher, when he finally gave up Formula One, they said to him he had a really bad crash one day and he lay on the side of the track and he started asking himself, when is enough and my family and all that stuff. It's kind of sad what circumstances happen to him now. But when you decide that your relationship with your significant other, if that terminated, what would that do with everything else? Then you'd go, well, my job actually fund some of the beautiful things we've been able to do. And then I'm actually working every day with people who have got their Renuka, who have got their Peter. How am I treating them with the same level of respect? And if my job is now funding all of these things in my life, my job is giving me the ability, like Damon Burton, if he's watching, Damon sent $100 for the typhoons in the Philippines. If my job is allowing me to do that, to feed people I don't even know, how important is my job? And then those people are living, their children who are going unfed, how important is that? And then all of a sudden, this starts rippling in terms of your mindset is not about how much COVID's affected you. Your mindset is what's the wealth of my interpretation and my participation in the human race? And you know what, everyone, that's really deep. For those people putting up duck videos and watching a 30-second clip and going, I'm out, I'm finished. I know it's deep. But you know what? I deal in the business of life. And when someone gets a phone call to say the most important thing in your life halts, they're the ones that ring me up. That's why I'm like this.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Hey, you are on fire today. Okay. I love it.
Well, put it this way, Pete.
I love it.
People ring me up about some of profoundly important things, and I'm now accepting the responsibility. I don't ask. It doesn't say, hey, if your child passed away. Hey, if you've got some issues around some aspects of your children. Hey, if you've had disrespect in terms of a relationship 30 years ago between your ex-husband and your child. I didn't ask for that, but because it's come, I'm now present to it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, hey, this is fantastic. So everybody in the masterclass, please, of course, this is why we record these things. You can go back and watch that, have a look at every one of those slides and so on. And I know that Stephen posts them separately as we go. Yep. Let's jump down to the whiteboard because, of course, we always have an amazing insight that comes from,
this looks confusing today, but
look at this.
And everyone, I need to go, I've tried to color code this into black, blue, and red. And I can't do this slowly and draw it all out because of the speed we need to do the show. Eternal growth mindset was the masterclass that we just did. Oh, it just sneaks in. Everything in life has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 things for you to manage your mindset and your growth mindset. We've just gone through a whole pile of things around what do you focus, what do you expect, and what action are you prepared to take? And I notice with me, because there's a whole bunch of things that have changed in the background with the Sede land, I wake up every morning now going, what's your focus, what's your expectation, what's your action? As opposed to what's my dream. So every obstacle is the beginning of your journey. No, it's not, Steve. I can hear people go, you've got to have a dream. You've got to set goals. Yeah, well, I agree. Your intention is your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, and your desires. Guess what arrives the moment you set one? The obstacles of doubt, anxiety, fear, the obstacles that challenge whether you can get here. So the very first thing you need to understand is when you've set a goal, the very first thing you need to go is what are the obstacles that are going to come to me and prepare yourself for them. The Elon Musks of this world are so ready for their obstacles, they are powering to their intention, but they're very mindful of what needs to happen each way. So what is your obstacles? Because your intent, so obstacle to intention. What's the journey? Conflict. The journey between obstacle and intention is called conflict. That conflict is the management of doubt, anxiety, the management of failure, the management of rockets falling down, the management of a relationship not going the way you want to go to it if we keep it just to ourselves, you missing out on a job, you not getting that promotion, your relationship starting to stutter, your children getting to an age where you don't think, well, hang on, how come they're not listening to me at 15 because you weren't present at 7? So everything between obstacle and intention meets with conflict. Your fourth and sixth thing to do, when you have some type of obstacle based on your intention to run a live show like Peter's doing, launch a philanthropy channel like Peter's doing, launch Sapphire app, which we'll talk more about that Devan, one of our guests, is doing, what is the first experience of what you've done, which is your processes? What are the so this is my intention, and I'm now being battered by my obstacles. Oh God, can I do this? Will this work? What is the experience of what you've done and your practices? And immerse yourself into those with focus, expectation, and action. So instead of your obstacle going, oh God, do I think I can build an app with the complexity that Devan's done? Do I think I can get a philanthropy channel working? Do I think I'll ever get LinkedIn to let me go live? Says Stephen to Sede. Focus, expect action. The very first thing you do to combat conflict is what are my experiences? What have I done? And what are the practices of my success? Then what's my discovery? What have you learnt or are learning from practitioners? I doubt there's many people who, and I don't have kids and I don't have a partner, all those types of things, so I've got a lot of time that I can invest in this. I'm shaving this morning listening to Aaron Sorkin on Masterclass. I am a ferocious learner of this stuff. Why? Because when people come knocking on my door asking about some of the stuff they ask me, I can't afford the luxury of thinking, I wonder if I should help someone because I've never had children. I'm not asking them why they're asking, but they're asking. So the very first thing between obstacle and intention is to understand the obstacles. Go to your experience. What have you done? What are your practices that are batting away doubt? Because the best way to overcome doubt is what action did I take? What focus did I have that won? Where was doubt when I was having success in my life? Alternately, how do I go down and learn from other practitioners who have gone through the journey of trying to open up a philanthropy channel, trying to open up a new app that like Devan's done? What do I discover in terms of practitioners? Because when you have focus, expectation, and action, so let's surmise this, your very first focus in life should be that whatever I set my mind to, obstacles are going to come. So I'm going to dig into my experiences of what I've done, or I'm going to discover what others have done. And you'll see on the Sede updates what I'm doing here. Communication versus content creation. Communication is the relationship in your ability to give out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 obstacles, intention, what you experience, what you've done, what you've discovered, and what you learned, and communicate that. Most people today are content creating based on, this is what I've got, this is what I've done, maybe, this is what you need to do, and they're telling people about what others have done. So I'm going to launch a podcast and tell you how to get $1 million deal. And if you ask the person, have you ever written one, they'll probably say no. If you're going to talk about someone else's success, make it their success. So communication, and this is why communication versus content creation. Noise is so many people doing 2, 5, 6, and 7 and leaving out the admission of obstacle, leaving out the admission of intention, leaving out what they've done and experienced, which sometimes failed, and then having the guts to say, Aaron Sorkin is teaching me about obstacles and intention. And I'm turning my interpretation of it and putting it out there. I'm ferociously learning from people who have gone through failure. I'm reading a book because of the 10 years of isolation that I've lived. Hey, Graham, I'm reading a book right now about a guy who came out of prison in solitary confinement and integrated back into society. What are you doing to prepare yourself for the obstacle and the intention of you serving beyond yourself? Or are you just creating content based on, this is what I want, this is what I've got, look at my pool, give me, and it's a rendered green screen picture. And by the way, this is what I've learned. And you, like now, on a weekly basis, people are saying, look in the mirror and love what you see. People are quoting verbatim what I'm putting on this show and not mentioning my name once. I don't mind, but start creating your interpretation and your perspective on the obstacles you've faced, of what you want, the experiences of what you've done, and the discovery of who you've learnt from, and go and communicate that in its entirety, and stop telling everyone, look how good I am, give me your details and I'll tell you how to get a pool. Peter?
Gosh. Oh my. You know what? I'm going to leave it right there for everybody because you and I have done this before. Literally, I could take anything you just said there now and turn it into another show. Okay.
Yep.
So anyway, I do want to say this. You don't have to comment on this, but I do love the fact of what you said here, which is really important. I'm a content creator. A lot of people are out there who actually make a living at creating content for other people.
Yes.
And so on. It's so important to have that due respect of what it takes to create content and then to put it out to the world and to back it up. So the point of what you mentioned about, there's nothing wrong with people kind of being influenced by what you do and so on.
No.
But have the respect for the content when it comes from the original. I mean, that's the whole point of copyright. As an example, by the way, you can't just go out and start playing other people's music for your own show. You can't start, using other people's quotes from their book and so on and call it your own. You have to be able to go out and back it up. So if you can back it up through your experiences, things that you've actually lived, for me, that's rock star stuff. That's rock star stuff.
I don't care that people are quoting exactly what I say. I don't care that people are going onto my YouTube channel and pulling stuff off and then, what business you're in and all that stuff, which was done in 2016. Look in the mirror and love what you see, which was done at the 12 Apostles in 2015. I don't mind that bit. What I mind is people not having the focus, expectation, and action of a growth mindset of expressing their point of view. Having the courage to admit to people your success and failure and allow people to experience and understand that journey. As opposed to, no one wants to know how bulletproof you are because it's not true.
Yeah.
So I don't mind if people take my stuff and regurgitate it. And I don't need them to go, well, Stephen Sede told me this. My ego doesn't need that. What I need you to do is, what is your obstacle and intention of what you've experienced and what you've done, what you've discovered from someone else and how you've learned, and then have the guts to say this. I spent a decade thinking I didn't deserve to do something like this. Now I spend every breath working out whether I have the right to talk into a mother who tells me their 33-day-old infant died, and Steve, can you help me?
Yeah. Hey, listen, I so
go.
appreciate this
Do you
conversation.
want to wrap it off?
Oh, I know when you do it, it breaks my heart, but I'm going to watch it. Go ahead, look, everybody,
go on.
look at all
Keep
that.
going. Let's keep going, buddy. Keep going.
It breaks my heart, but I know that's why we tape this show, we record this show, because we can always visit that back, and it's awesome. That was fantastic. Super appreciate that, Stephen. So hey, let me just jump to a couple of comments before we bring on our guests. And we'll jump to your updates for you to Sede. I'll do that near the end if that's okay with you, my friend. I want to jump into.
No, do it before at the beginning, because there's a lot of it's related to what we're doing. If you do it
is
at
that
the
right?
end,
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let me just let's see. We're getting some really good feedback.
I just need you to do the update earlier rather than later, Pete. Sorry to ask you to do that.
Rashmi, so empowering. Realize there she goes. Focus beyond. I so appreciate that. Agree. As soon as you set a goal, obstacles do show up. Absolutely. Absolutely. Get my wow. Very thoughtful. Thank you, Melody. Good to see you here as well. Melody, by the way, I'm putting it out to the world right now. Guess what, Stephen? Melody's going to make her first video soon.
Yay!
So. Melody, I'm sorry. I just put it out to the world. There you go. You're done now. You have to do it.
Yeah, no.
So it's all good. And a plan of action. Love this. Absolutely, Lori. And it should be your own voice with inspiration. Absolutely true. Hey, and there you go, Melody. Your own voice means your own video and all that kind of stuff. Okay, Stephen. Yeah. So let's jump to, give me a second here. What I'll do then.
Sorry about that, everyone. I draw these up the night before, and the ink must dry, so it takes me forever to get it off. But anyway.
Yeah, no worries.
And I'm a bit ADD about the board being clear. Yes, Graham, I said it. Leave me alone.
You ADD.
I'm really fussy about the board not being clean. Unbelievable.
Okay, let's do the Sede update. I love this.
We'll do this quick.
Stuff. Yeah, this is all cool stuff. So here we go.
Yeah, just what we've been doing into Sede. Where are we? I did this a couple of days ago, so I'll experience this as we go. Let's go, Pete.
Yeah, let's rock and roll.
Takeouts from Cafe 4, which has just gone, is the whole thing about communicate versus content create, and the growth mindset was from Cafe 3. The cafes, next one, Pete. The cafes, so growth mindset was Cafe 4 a couple of weeks ago. Cafe 5 was communicate and create, and all I did is I joined them into a masterclass in tactic and just elaborated big time on them. This week, we're going to talk about leadership versus followship. Everyone's trying to teach you to be a leader. How do you get taught to be a follower? Because a lot of people just want to follow. So it's on those times, Friday, 6 p.m. New York, 11 London. I'm very proud to announce that after working with Devan nearly 2 years now, coming up early next year, I've been asked to be the global brand ambassador for Sapphire. And Devan's going to talk about that, and I'm really, really pleased about that. I hope that's okay as an image which we knocked up. I've also, and everyone, what are you doing to be very intentional about the nature of people that you're trying to physically network in? So I've joined the Club of United Business in Sydney, Australia earlier this week. And that's giving me, because I'm kind of based in Sydney for the moment, and my movement because of COVID is restricted. So my question to everyone, and I'm not putting that up, you go, hey, there's Steve on a picture. What are you doing to make an intentional community engagement of people in the physical form, in the physical sense? What are you doing? Because that's one of the things that we're doing.
Fantastic.
Then in terms of personal mastery, we're taking mindset mastery, we're taking people rapport mastery and communication mastery, and we're putting that out. This is some images coming out of the new Sede website about how to go from conflict to clarity to confidence and creativity. There's around 100 videos. You'll be able to use the cafe to speak to me once a week. And personal mastery is a month it's by invitation for $47 a month every month, and you'll have access to all of those courses, and you'll be able to come on the cafe, because the cafe is going to start turning into the people that are inside the Sede Institute and Academy asking me questions on a Saturday morning over coffee.
Wow.
The business mastery mentoring is the entire Institute and Academy. It's $97 a month. You'll be able to speak to me at the cafe in a limited form. There's more advanced versions of this for people like Devon who have one-to-one mentoring with me and obviously brand ambassadorships. But if you're wanting to do some personal mastery, it's $47 a month. If you want to do business mastery, it's $97 a month. And just so you know, everyone, every single video of the 350 plus that are inside the Academy are all on a whiteboard, all have a podcast, all have a transcript, all have a workbook and guide sheet. It is the most advanced training, and people who have seen inside it, it's changed your life. The new website of Sede will simply say, Stephen Sede, life-changing.
Wow. Fantastic stuff.
Graham encouraged me to do this. Hey, buddy. Graham encouraged me to do this. So I'm getting approached, not a lot, but enough. And if I started making more of a push towards it, I'm going to release a very small course, which is my advice to millennials, how to believe in yourself now so you'll not fail in the future. It's going to be a very simple little course, but extremely powerful. It's going to be $17 as a one-off fee because I'm not trying to skin anybody. The big stuff and all the things that I do elsewhere, that's different. But I said to everyone, this is a platform where no one will get left behind. So I'm going to actually produce a short course, which I've got a whole structure to, which is my advice to millennials, how to believe in yourself now so you'll not fail in the future. If you want to join Soul Shifters and you want to follow the hashtag, please do. If you want to know what Sede Land is, did I leave this slide in?
Here we go, this one.
Yes, Sede Land. People go, what is Sede Land? It's a world where the gravity is love, the atmosphere is brilliance, the currency is relevance, the culture is value service, whose citizens are called soul shifters. So love your brilliance, everyone, and have relevance in your value and service to others. That is Sede Land this week.
Oh, fantastic. Wow. There's a lot of stuff in there that I didn't see. I didn't see that stuff coming. I should take my notes before you send me stuff.
Everything we're doing is having a growth mindset for Stephen Sede and leading by example. Everything I'm doing is communicating and less and less content creating. I haven't got time to compete with the wealth of noise out there. I'm now wanting to work out who are the people who want to change their life, who have had some type of conflict and have the courage to seek the clarity, to seek the confidence to go and create the new version of their life.
Oh, love that, my fine friend. Love that, fine friend. Okay, that's just a couple quick, and I'm going to bring on our first guest. A couple of quick things, and I just wanted to show this is really cool because I just love when we inspire people to do something. So Melody, thanks. Yes, she's going to do it. I'm telling you. Listen, for anyone who creates content, and some people that create content, they might tell you that it's easy. It's not easy. It's hard. And if people find it easy, bravo, good for you. But it's hard for most people. And so, Melody, you're taking your first step. I just want to give you a shout out because I know how hard it is, and it's fantastic. And there's your congratulations, Stephen. There's fantastic, great honor, blah blah blah. This is amazing. So there you go. That's amazing. All that kind of stuff. Okay. Let's get to the guests. I
know it's been a bit long, so I appreciate the patience of the guests.
I know the patience of the guests. So at the beginning, Stephen, we had some little technical difficulties getting somebody on board, but I was able to connect us with somebody.
Okay, good.
So we're going to go west. We're going to go west east. We normally go east to west. That's what we normally do. So we have two people from the United States of America. Nothing going on down there. They should have lots of free time on their minds.
Exactly.
Chill out. Really laid back down there right now. So it's all good. And so we appreciate them coming on board here today. So let's bring on our first guest here. And there's love in her eyes for you. There's love in her eyes.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Right. There's Angie. There's Angie.
My Lord.
Did I get that right, Angie? You are coming in from Colorado, are you not?
That's right. Denver, Colorado. Honored.
Denver, Colorado.
Yeah.
You're just, hey, I'm just north of you, like a 2-hour flight. That's all I am. So there you are. Same time zone. Great to see you. Love the glasses. Hey, you like glasses like that.
Spreading the love.
Spreading the love. So appreciate it. Listen, thank you for joining us, and super appreciate you showing up for the show. And like I said at the beginning, we brought on Devon, but long story short, we have you now. I'm going to leave you with Stephen with your question. Super appreciate. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to see you too. Hey, Stephen.
How you doing?
Fire. I love it.
That's okay. Well, when you accept the responsibility of what people ask you about, life changes. So it's cool. So I never asked for this, but I'm now going to accept it. So I appreciate the comment. Thank you.
So my question is around what I'll call fake focus. we talk about focus and intention and the, running into obstacles, but going back to the focus, I would love for you to cover what I call fake focus, where we, at what point can you self-evaluate or offer us tools that the actions that we're doing actually are taking us on off track? It's kind of busy work. Like, it feels good. We're doing it. We feel like we're staying on track, but in reality, we're not. It's a time suck. So I'd label it fake focus. What do you recommend as tools to make sure that you're definitely staying focused?
You said feels good, didn't you?
Yeah.
What else did you say?
Fake focus.
Yeah, I know. But
Busy
you said
work.
it. Busy work.
Busy work.
What else did you say?
It takes you off track.
Which goes back to focus.
Right.
Everything I've done today, and the reason this is, and I do apologize to Van that this has taken a little longer, and to you too, Angie. Everything I've done today is about this. Everything is about example, because of the one thing, my definitiveness, and I'm not going to spell it, of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
What have you decided? And everything we talked about growth mindset today, everything we talked about in terms of the tactic, what is your definitiveness of purpose? Because does it feel good to Elon Musk for the last 10 years to watch his rockets blow up? Does it feel good for Richard Branson to watch two people when they tried to finally get someone into space and the rocket blew up and two guys died? It's busy work, and they're focused on actually getting Virgin Galactica or whatever it's called and SpaceX to work. But were they focused on the feel good? Were they focused on the feel good? Were they focused on the work? Or were they such an example of their definitiveness of purpose? Whether that failed, whether the work didn't work, they never, ever stopped this. Because does it feel good? Does it matter? Because Mother Teresa's definitiveness of purpose was that, and I shouldn't run over the black with the white with the blue. The very first thing is, what are you focused on? And if your focus is not completely and utterly on this, if your focus is not completely, Peter, am I still on audio? Because everything seems to have gone quiet. Oh, I am. There you go. Good. Sorry, I just thought I'd gone quiet. Every single thing that you focus on should be the definitives of purpose. And what's that in normal speak? Why did you start? Secondly, how much would it hurt if you stopped? How much would it hurt if you stopped? Why did you actually start? That's your definitiveness of purpose. Focus on that. And whether it feels good and whether the work's busy, it doesn't matter, because fake focus is your addiction to pleasure, comfort, and entertainment. And some people's pleasure, comfort, and entertainment will be on making sure they can get as many people to feel good about their content, for that example. They're busy putting out stuff, and it's got nothing to do with the definitiveness of purpose of why they started and why would it hurt if it stopped. Because they're in the process of pleasure, comfort, and entertainment around the fake focus of I need to do something that feels good and I work hard posting every day.
Mm-hmm. That's a great diagram.
It's the reason being, sometimes recently I've been getting 29 views. 29 views on some of the content I put out. And I'm going to be braggadocious and bold enough for the first time in my life. You'll be very proud of me, Graham. My content is unbelievably ripping.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it is totally and completely and utterly focused on your welfare. Totally and completely focused. And Graham, I just worked it out. People come to me because of the relentless example of how much I love and care for them. Inside my apartment, this is the first apartment I've had in 9 years, there are photographs of Sede soul shifters in here as part of my family. There's a picture of a little boy over there. There's a picture of Ashley up there with her, "You are worthy." There's pictures all over the place of the people, because the people I serve are the definitiveness of purpose, of why I started, why it hurts, and I'll never stop. And I don't care whether it feels good. I don't care how busy the work is, because my focus is on my purpose. And 29 views, I don't care, because guess what? One person is staying up all night. One person is sending me photographs of their little daughter. One person is sending me photographs of their little daughter who's drawing love hearts, who 3 months ago got abused. One person is asking me questions about a relationship they've got with an adopted child, which is very challenging. One person is saying, Steve, because of you, I've come out of the hiding of the depression of my life. I don't care about views. I care about your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing fake about what I do. And that's why more and more and more you'll see less and less and less of me on social media, because I'm not interested in competing with the content creators who are looking for the vanity of feeling good. I'm looking for the one person who wants to change their life. And that's why it's now been called Stephen DeSade Life Changing. Why? Because that's what people say. So Angie, 3 things for you, gorgeous. Number 1, or A, we'll do A. What do people say about you? People have seen this a million times on the show. What do people say about the experience of you? B, what are they saying about the impact you have on them?
Mm-hmm.
And C, what would they say if you said why you started and you'll never stop? What would they say? Because most people would say, well, the reason it feels good because I get this many views. And then they put, I appreciate you, I appreciate you, I appreciate you. The BS that they put on me putting up a post about a little boy that died after 159 days, and people go, this is very profound. They didn't watch it. And they're parents themselves, and they use some infant boy's passing as a trigger for an algorithm. How insulting.
Right.
Where's the dignity in your definitiveness of purpose? So, Angie, what do they say about you? What's the impact that you have on them? And what would they say if you said I was going to stop doing what I do? Because if they said, oh, that's a shame, they just see you as pleasure, comfort, and entertainment. If I told some of the people that are hanging on the walls in my apartment that I was going to stop doing DeSade and I'm going to go off and do something else, they would be devastated.
Mm-hmm.
And I've earned the right to be in their heart and soul because I bore mine to them.
Yeah.
Pete?
Yeah. I love that. I love the question.
Love.
Yeah, spreading the love. I love that. I so appreciate you. Thank you for that great question. I hope you can stick around. If you can't, we would super appreciate it. If you could stick around, that'd be great. Stephen, I love that question because I took from it the idea that, and we don't have to expand on it right this second.
I won't.
But the point is that, like I said, this fake focus, I like that because sometimes people confuse progress with being busy. And just because you're busy doesn't mean you're making progress. And just because you're creating content doesn't mean you're making an impact and changing people's lives and making a difference. I'm not saying it's irrelevant. I'm just saying be cautious that your ego doesn't talk to you that, hey, I put out a post today. I created some content and it was, it's all about ego and vanity and has nothing to do with really trying to amplify people and help them and lift them up. You can get really confused easily with that. So anyway, that's just a quick little commentary from.
Come to the board. It's a one line. Hang on. Here it is, everyone, in terms of what Peter said. Everyone talks about busy. Busy means you. Effective means them. The next time someone says how busy they are, ask them how effective are you?
Oh.
That's it, Pete. I promise I won't say any more. Busy is you. Effective is them. Everything I'm doing right now and with all the stuff that Graham's helped me in the last few days, and I know I keep referencing him, but I put out something about stop. If you're drowning, stop describing the water and start building a lifeboat. And Graham's been helping me do that. I'm effective because of them. I don't care about being busy for me.
Oh,
Pete.
That's a show title. That's a show title. Just so you know.
Do a masterclass on that one.
From one producer, from a content creator to there you go. That's exactly what that is. That's fantastic.
Okay, my fine friend. Today, but anyway.
Oh, that's fantastic. Devon has been sitting in the background here.
I know. I really appreciate his patience.
This guy's like a rock star. But here's one of the things I'm going to put up where he's from. I took it from LinkedIn and he said New York, but hey, I just want to be clear to everybody. He's in New Jersey. And to me, that's a big difference. To me, that's a big difference. That's Homer Springsteen and Bon Jovi. Okay, that's just the difference for me. But that's just this the hair and the guitar in the background that talks about that. Okay, let's bring in our next guest here, Devon. Devon, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. After I talk to Steve and I look at sessions like this, I just look at myself and say, did I learn anything in my life so far, right? So, and every time in my conversation with Steve, every night, because I have conversation when Steve is in the morning for Steve, it's night for me. I end up being sleepless, right? I go into insomnia to say, hey, I have a lot of things to learn and understand from Steve. But it's always great to have these sessions and understand all these knowledgeable insights, that he comes from and his perspective. So this is great to be on the show. Second time on the show after a long time. And so thanks, Peter, and thanks, Steve, to have me here.
You're so welcome. I'm going to leave you with Stephen with your question. Appreciate you being around here.
Yeah, and one thing is, before Clark goes, so we call this a greater New York area, which also includes, the area around Manhattan, New Jersey, which is the lower part of New Jersey, and etc. So I'm in Bayonne, New Jersey. It's a town close to Staten Island, very close to Manhattan. A place where Steve would have been had there been no coronavirus.
Yes,
Steve having chicken tikka masala, right?
Yes. No, so, I was actually due to be in New York with Devan leading up to the launch of Sapphire, which we've now done. Or he's now done, and I'm participating in whatever capacity he wants me to do. Go for it, dude. What are we going to talk about?
Thanks for having me, and I think thanks for accepting my request to be the global ambassador for Sapphire. So I think it's an honor, and I think without working together for 2 years, and I think the journey of Sapphire, and know how I've gone through obstacles, right? Obstacles to the intention, exactly to the point that you had before. And I think one of the key things, coming from a place where it was always hot. There is a theory between people who live in a hot climate compared to people who live in a cold climate, right? If you live in a hot climate, the community is different, right? Because it's 24/7, 365 days community, because you're always outside. And I grew up in India, where there's nothing like cold. There's nothing like rain that happened like 10 days. So community is very important for me, right? Being part of the community was important. And I came up in a very diverse community. I was the only Christian. I was the only traditional non-caste, so I went through struggles of, a bias, caste-based bias, religion-based bias. But end of the day, we were still community. If something happened, we came together, right? When things were comfortable, then they introduced bias. But when someone was in trouble, when there was a theft happening, when there was a temple being, built, we put in money irrespective of whether he was a Christian, Muslim, or a Hindu. That's very important for me as a community. And everything I build in Sapphire, when I talk to my developers about, I need to have a color-changing feature in my app for your hair color. Because how many people in this world can afford to dye their hair right now, right? And if I'm going to give them an opportunity to go on video at home when there's a COVID situation, they can't afford to buy a dye, or they can't go to a salon to dye. I want to have a capability. You click a button and make your hair color black, so that you can.
What is Sapphire?
Sapphire is.
Because I love you to bits and you're a techie. You'll go down the path of describing the details, and the people out there going, what is it? What is Sapphire? So
in simpler terms, Sapphire is a platform to make you look precious because you're as precious as you are. And enabling all the technology possible to be showcased to your future opportunity, being it an employer, being it a future recruiter, or you're pitching yourself to your future job seeker, right? So I am trying to open up opportunity where the intolerance or the struggles that we have right now to get a job is gone. It should be like clicking on a movie in Netflix. It should be like clicking a few buttons on an Uber app or Lyft to get a taxi. It should be as simple as ordering your food through Uber Eats or anything at this point. Hiring as such, for 800 years, we're still using text at this point. So I'm first converting everything into videos. How about having our presence, just like how we are having right now, to present myself in front of a video for a potential job seeker or a potential hiring manager, so they can look at me and make quick decisions, rather than making a decision after 6 weeks, after looking at you in a face-to-face and say, you know what, I don't think you're going to work for us. I don't think the culture or the fit is right. Let them make a decision in a minute and move on with it. Let us have you get the result in a few minutes and move on with it. And let's accept how you operate as a community, because at the end of the day, all the organizations who say we are, equal opportunity employer, we have head of diversity, there's still the numbers on African American, people of color, women, the percentage is completely low. It's not going up anytime, right? So my mission is how to make hiring fast and fair. That's my mission. And I'm using technology and I'm using simple logic to say, how can I move this needle and continue with this mission of making this fast and fair? But I think one of the core things has been, while building this, is affordability, community, right? Are we looking at everyone's need, right? Is, if you look at the world, majority of the people.
Sorry, I'm going to jump in. I'm sorry. As producer of this show, I got to protect the integrity of why we ask people here. This cannot be an infomercial. So I'm gonna hold you there.
Yes.
I'm going to ask people to go out to Sapphire, and we'll talk about this another time. And I hope that everyone says, "Gee, Peter's being rough on this guy."
No. Because
I want the integrity of the show. I want the integrity of the broadcast to know that we're not doing an infomercial. So, if you can, please jump to the question so that we can get Stephen to kind of do his thing, and then Stephen, we will expand on Sapphire. There's no doubt about that. So please don't take that as disrespect. I want to respect the time of the viewers, and I want to make sure that we bring as much value to them as possible.
I wanted to give it the pitch because Steve wanted to know what Sapphire was. So going to the point, the question is community, right? The question is community, right? How is community important? How you as a brand ambassador, with all your thoughts, your experience in your life, how important is community?
Okay, if we think, and this, and I've written some stuff up already on here. When Peter goes down to the board, how important is community? If you think of the Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter, the LGBT, I hope I've got that correct. If you think of those movements, right? If you even think of the red and blue movements that are in America, which is topical right now because of the election over there, our community, rightly or wrongly, is based on a common focus and relatable learnings. And if you think of what I talked about today, everything between obstacle and intention is a common focus, which is some type of intention, and common learnings, which typically has, so over here, this will actually have your intention. So if you think of, before we step back from Zap for a sec, if you think of Me Too, Black Lives Matter, etc., there's a common focus of intention, unfortunately, for what some of those things represent, for example. Then there's a relatable level of learning, which is the obstacles, because I'm trying to keep all of this locked together. So I don't want to freewheel and go off topic. So if we think of an internal growth mindset, of what are you focusing, what do you expect, and what action are you prepared to take, when people enter a community, they're looking for a level of common focus. And that common focus can be related back to what's the intention, what's the dream, what's the outcome. Maybe it's just feeling a sense of protection, sense of security, all the definitions of the word community. In terms of a community, the other reason people want to be in a community is they want to learn from the obstacles. What's another word in Sede land for that? Practitioners. What's happening across social media right now? The actual community called Facebook and LinkedIn, all the social platforms, their common focus is to get you on the platform, get eyeballs, and charge you for ads. Now, all of a sudden, there's this obstacle of everyone's now starting to challenge in the regulation. And only I read this morning with Zuckerberg, they're now wanting to invite in, maybe we should have regulators, the art of war, keep your friends close, your enemies even closer. Because there's now spin-offs and Pillar or whatever it's called, these other platforms that are going to create communities of uncontrolled conversation from people. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole too far. But to your point, in the context of Sapphire is a community of common focus of intention. And everything that my involvement as ambassador to it will be is make sure that the community of common focus has the intention around the specific foundational principles and philosophies of what it is. Because the communities of the social media platforms, their common focus is how much money we can do. As Zuckerberg said to Congress, we make money through ads. And without it being regulated, we'll make as much money. I'll put walls around all my houses so you can't see into my privacy, but I will literally do whatever I can to get as much money out of you. And now all of a sudden it's got out of control. So the reason why I like Sapphire is people are constantly seeking community with a common focus of intention and then a relatable learnings of obstacles. What's your experiences from practitioners? What's your experiences from the emotion of the stories of what you've had to go through? What's your common focus? So everything around Sapphire is actually using a very fancy app. It's stunning the way it does what it does, and I know what else is coming, for you to focus by me as a practitioner helping people to overcome the obstacles of how to do video, how to talk, how to communicate, how to do a video resume. But make sure that the community, everyone, inspired by Devan, if you're creating a community, whether it's called Sapphire, whether it's called Soul Shifters, what is the number one focus for you? Is your number one focus to get as many followers as you can? Or is your number one focus the intention of the welfare of someone else's heart and soul? You know why I said this to Devan when he first contacted me, and we had a couple of conversations. I was on the west coast of Australia at that point. The number one thing I said, once I understood it, and he knows what I'm about to say, there is a 14-year-old girl or boy sitting at a dinner table in America right now, looking at their mother and father who have gone through hundreds of jobs and job requests and CVs and job applications. And the little 14-year-old is looking at their parents going, oh, and they're looking and absorbing their parents' doubt. Because of the color of their skin or the alphabet they've got in their name, they're going to be discriminated against. And the 14-year-old child is the reason why I'm involved in Sapphire. I will not allow a 14-year-old to believe what someone's interpretation of someone's skin color is to their parent. And every evening at dinner, the little child is learning what they should never be taught. So my number one point on community is, what's the common focus of your community? What's the relatable learning of your community? What are the obstacles you're trying to help people through the practitioner? Remember what I said about your discovery and your experiences. And then what's your common focus? If your community is a common focus of how many likes, how many shares, it's all about me, then you need to understand that the regulation and the regulatory aspects of the human emotion as we get out of COVID eventually and we journey down the road of life is people are going to start realizing, if you aren't for me, I'm not in it with you. Peter?
Yeah, I love that. And, you know, again, hey, we're friends. We're still friends, right? Devan, we're still friends?
No, he's fine. He's fine.
No.
We're all good, man. We're all good.
You're from you like Bruce and Steve. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I wanted to get to the idea of what you're asking about the community there. And Stephen, you just, like I said, we just talked about that. But the idea of community is such a super important conversation to continue having now. So whether we're talking about an app, whether we're talking about building, you know, whatever our goals and our dreams are online, if you're not using community as your intention and community in the right way, in the sense of amplifying, lifting people up and empowering them, then, like you said, there's a question there of whether or not there's an admirable part of why you're doing what you're doing. So I love the fact that you did say that. Is it important, and how important is community? I think most people in business right now are probably trying to figure that out online as well. They're trying to figure out how do we bring people together in a way that we can get through all of these normal biases that are happening to what you're talking about, Devan, is that for people to kind of get past all of that and build a community where you can get straight to the essence of it. Oh, and Stephen, there you go, my fine friend.
This is guess what a community is? It's one individual multiplied by whatever number you want based on what they get. That's what a community is. That's all it is. A community is an individual. And in my case, the community that I'm interested in terms of Zaf with Devan, my community is based on that one individual. And get this one individual is called a 14-year-old who's sitting down at dinner every night wondering why mum or dad is looking the way they do, and I will not allow it.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, I love that. I really, really do, Stephen. That's fantastic. Hey, let's just jump to, so thank you, Devan, for that amazing question. I'm going to bring back Angie. I'm going to bring back, this is one of my favorite parts of the show, everybody. So we're going to move around a little bit real quick to keep everyone on time and to keep the show moving forward. So thank you so much for both of those questions. Angie, thank you for sticking around and super appreciate that. And Devan, of course, like I said, I love the idea that, again, you're building community, and it sounds like the intention is right. And that's the key point here, is that there's a powerful intention behind that kind of stuff. So Angie, the reason why we come back and Devan is that sometimes throughout the conversation, either, you know, with your conversation with Stephen or something you might have heard from the other guest, you might have had an aha from today. So you know, in a nutshell, is there something that you can share with us, maybe an aha that you got from today's show? So we'll start with Angie.
Yeah. the diagrams that he puts together to visualize the concepts that he's discussing really helps connect the dots. I like that he uses Stephen. I'm saying he, Stephen, you.
It's okay, gorgeous. I get
Use
it.
octagons for that. And, it made a lot of sense in terms of when the last one he wrote community, and then it was Black Lives Matter, and he had other different groups. Remind me again, what did you have in the two on the end in between the community?
It was about a common focus and common learnings.
Oh, right. Thank you. And that goes back to the focus part. If we just stay focused on that, then we have a greater sense of community.
Love that. See, I love that. You're absolutely right. The ability to be able to refocus, where our intention is, what we're trying to accomplish, and why do we even want to build a community? Why are we the ones that are out there trying to, or why are we joining that particular community? What is the end goal that comes from that? That's a great connection point. I love that, Angie. Thank you for that. And Devon, my fine friend, maybe an aha that you've taken away from today's show, either from your conversation or maybe another one.
I mean, the aha is, Steve is the influencer, right? I mean, you're talking about people with a maximum number of likes, people with a maximum number of followers. But I think, world, unfortunately, do not recognize the Messiah at times, right? He doesn't know who bad God is, right? Doesn't know who the smart person is. So I think, if you look at the first part of the masterclass, you're like, oh, this is true. What he's saying is true, right? The learning about it. If you're not, actioning your learning, then you're not doing something right? Your decisions, if you're passive decision, active decisions, you are trying to correct your decision versus making the right decision. And these are the part of everyday's life, right? I mean, for me, as an example, I made a decision, conscious decision, do something, give away from a 6-figure salary, in a senior position to do something for 2 years. What is the pain of stopping it, right? Would I regret it? Right? Because every day I look at it, every time I take money from my, pension, sell my house to do this, I'm like, what is the pain of stopping?
Totally relate. You know what? And many people on this watching this or watching in the future, especially in our LinkedIn communities, can relate to that. Because again, entrepreneurship in 2020 has a whole new meaning. It has a whole new meaning of your resiliency and your ability to stay focused, your intention, and like you said, how much skin do you have in the game, and how much like you said, what does that mean if you stopped? It doesn't necessarily mean obviously failure, but it certainly it makes us pause to think now in 2020 versus any other year. So no, I appreciate what you're saying there. I can totally relate to that. And for me, Stephen, today I found this idea of I love the idea of fake focus. So I really do. Because sometimes I'm watching even what people post sometimes, and I'm thinking, is that really you, or is that are you just saying that? Or so this idea of I'm busy, I'm putting stuff out. The idea of focus came up with that, and it tied directly to community. So I love the idea of what is the intention? What is the intention of your focus? What are you focusing on, and why are you doing that? Not the outcome, but why are you doing that day in, day out? And then why are you doing that with the intention to build a community and influence that community? I think it comes back to that power of intention. I'm a big fan of that word. I love that word. And Dr. Wayne Dyer is where I got some of that thinking from in his book, The Power of Intention. So for me, it's always about communicating intention, and watch what people do, and they'll tell you who they are. And that you'll see it in everything that they do when it comes to the power of intention. So, Stephen, let me just see what fabulous, unbelievably cool stuff that you have right now to share with us, my fine friend.
Okay. Angie, you said what I heard when you spoke of the many things you said, but the essence and the core of what I heard is visualize your life's focus. Knowing we humans are herd animals, we crave the vision of others. Mm-hmm. Example is craved, so make yours positive, positive, positive. And the easiest way to be positive, 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 be an example of loving intention for every person that comes near you. Devon, you said impactors. For me, impactors transcend influencers. To influence is to seek a sense of self. To impact is to commit to others. If you think of it, you can influence something to move, but if you want to impact something, you've actually got to almost strike it, and striking in the positive sense of that language. So impactors transcend influencers. I don't want ever to be called an influencer. I want to be called an impactor. I want to have such an impact on your life that it will shift you to go from that situation of conflict to courage to clarity to confidence to creativity. So impactors transcend influencers. To influencers to seek a sense of self, to impact is to commit to others. And stopping, work out what in your life that if you stopped, it would hurt your heart. Let me say that again, everyone. Work out what would hurt your heart if you stop, and whatever it is, be obsessive in your definitiveness of purpose around it. Peter, fake nothing. Believe in all you do, you say, do, post, and commit to. Silence impacts where influencing can be disrupting.
Oh, man.
And that all flies in the face of everything we get taught out there by the people who are influencing. And if you've got hundreds of thousands of people following you, and the best you can do to someone who's going, hey, my child, my son, some of the stuff that gets written to me, and the best you can do is I appreciate you, I appreciate you, I appreciate you, I appreciate you. What happens if you posted something about your family, your child, your loved one, and the best I could do is I appreciate you because I'm trying to trigger an algorithm. Stop insulting humanity, because all you do is insult yours.
Yeah. I think you just dropped a mic right there. You just dropped a microphone right there. That's what you just did. You just did that. That is fantastic. Listen, Stephen, always appreciate that. Our guests, Angie and Devon, thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate you sticking around. We really appreciate all the input and the great questions. And I hope you had a good time and appreciate
I had a great time. Thank you.
You guys do. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys again for sure. Stephen, I just love that. Like you said, I know you're hitting home a couple points that we've talked about before, but I've talked about with other people about this as well. When you're watching what people are kind of posting and what they do, I use that phrase about watch what people do. They'll tell you who they are. So in the online world, I just watch what people post. I really do. I watch what they comment on. I watch what they say. I watch what they post. And I think to myself, okay, is that the kind of energy that I want in my community? I mean, my virtual community, my digital community, working business wise. You and I, for example, we're on the other side of the globe, and here we are communicating with one another. And obviously, if that communication didn't feel in sync, we wouldn't have those communications. It would be is pretty simple. So I think we all need to kind of take us a minute and pause and think about that as we move forward, building community.
It goes back to that thing I said at the outset. I mean, when you wake up every morning, what are you focusing on? What are you expecting? And what action you're going to take? There are people out there that are going to entertain. They're going to put out really simple things. That's fine. We need them. There's going to be people who educate and put out really hardcore things. Great. We need them. There's going to be people who are going to put out things that you relate to, saying life's really hard, but I can make it. We need those people. Let them come. There's people out there who are going to vent. They're just going to vent and vent and vent and vent and vent, and people are going to be drawn to it.
Yeah.
And then there's soul shifters like us. Not any better, but I'm looking for the 1% of the 99% of people who are wanting to live their life because of some type of conflict that they've got the courage to look into, want creativity out of it, confidence out of it. And how do I get creative after my 159-day-old infant child died? And that lady today is now a nurse running a team of 147 frontline workers. And she says to me, Steve, what you taught me about Nathaniel's life is now the soul medicine I do. I speak to people, and 8 out of 10 is me talking to about healing their soul with what I learned from my little boy's life, who's now she describes as a beautiful pain, and 2% is following the prescriptions of the doctors. 8 out of 10 things she does in life in her nursing profession is based on the soulful journey of having to lose her child. That is the people that we're dealing with. There's nothing wrong with entertainers and educators and relators. I'm not fussed on the venters. There's nothing wrong with all of those. But Stephen Sede, with Peter Clark's help, is focused on the 1% of people who have been punched in the face of life, said respectfully, and want to find a way to win.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, win with the soul too. Not what you're doing. That's how I always think.
And if I found one person in the next 30 days that wants to do something different with their life, and I had to put up with 29 views, bring it on.
Bring it on. Hey, listen, I don't do this for the. We're not doing this for the revenues. We're doing it for the souls that we're changing. I mean, let's face it, right?
Absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely. Well, there's revenue in what we're doing. That's fine, and I make no bones about it. It's the first show after 23 where I've mentioned money. I don't intend to change it. If I enter your life via your visibility and awareness through Peter's help of me exposing you, if you have the courage to face up to what you want, and Stephen DeSade with Peter Clark enters your life, it's going to change.
Powerful stuff, my friend. Hey, let's throw out a couple of shout outs before we end the show. We always appreciate everyone watching. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube as well. So super appreciate that. This little Doug is always on watching our show. We still appreciate that. Very easy to let time sink into your life when focused on something. Thinking at first, it contributes to the goal. So you're right. You got to be careful on confusing being busy with the outcome. I always love that. And Melanie, that is why they go to you. You set the example of action and purpose, Stephen. I think that's what you talked about. So that's a fantastic thing. Hey, there's a guy who loves you right there.
Hey. And he hasn't plugged the best writer ever. Anyway,
there you go. Look at this guy. I know that name.
Hey, there he is. Jairus, thanks for joining us. I hope my my little message to you to say that this would be worth it for you based on some of the posts yesterday. I hope that's been true for you, buddy. Thanks so much.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. I love that. And he also mentioned about here, reinvent myself 2 or 3 times since I was on the show. Never look at it as a fail, always going forward. Hey, Doug, good for you, man. I'm going to tell you something for guys. I mean, this is not I just want to mention this. Guys we don't like talking about failure. That's not our top priority, especially publicly. And hey, man, if you're reinventing yourself on a regular basis, keep going, keep moving forward.
Peter, the guitar that's behind you, how many times have you rebuilt it as opposed to retuned it?
Oh, you know what? That's a great question. Retuned it.
Because it's exactly what Doug's talking about.
There you go. I only rebuilt it once, though.
But you know what I mean, though. Yeah,
I do know what you mean.
So the end result is, Doug, like Peter's guitar, it may have been rebuilt once over the million years he's owned it. Yep. But I guarantee Peter might have rebuilt it, reinvented it once, but he's retuned it probably every week.
Absolutely. That is so very, very true. I love that.
Well said, Doug.
People are looking for purpose, absolutely. And there's Jared. Yes, sir. Keep up the good work. So there you go, Stephen.
Thanks, man.
That answers your question right there. Hey, everybody. Super appreciate you tuning in. Stephen, another amazing show. I love the whole idea we talked about. Everything was about focus. This Stephen DeSade updates, everybody. I hope you tune in for your cafe that's coming up again on, when's it coming up?
Friday.
Again?
Friday, 6 p.m. New York, 11 p.m. London, and Saturday morning, 10 a.m. in Sydney.
Beautiful, beautiful. Really appreciate the opportunity for people to connect with you at that level. And again, it's all about just getting together and having a coffee and a chat and all that kind of stuff. Thanks to our two guests.
The cafe is going to turn into group coaching each week for people who are inside the Institute and Academy. That's where it's going, which is cool.
Fantastic.
That's where it's going.
Yeah. I dropped in just for a little moment there, and I saw it was really, really cool. My schedule allowed me to do that, so I appreciate that. Angie Gallagher out of Colorado, and of course Devon with Sapphire. I mean, this guy out of New Jersey. Let's get clear here, the greater New York area, but New Jersey technically.
Go to the Apple App Store and go search for Sapphire and download it. And I'm in there, and I'm posting stuff. I'll do something just after the show finishes today, teaching about the practice of changing your life.
Fantastic. Always good to see you, Stephen.
No worries, buddy.
My fine friend. Don't tell us how tomorrow or today ends, just so you know.
Be well and be brilliant, everyone.
Everyone out there, be kind. Be kind, everybody. Cheers.